Hello and welcome to The Round So Far, brought to you by AAMI. I'm Riley Beveridge. This is Kane Cornes. Kane, let's get straight into it because there was a thriller at the Adelaide Oval where the Demons recorded a gritty victory over Port Adelaide.
Yeah, so these are the key moments in the last quarter where Melbourne were enormous. I thought the way they were able to defend the ball going inside Port Adelaide's forward 50 and then the composure that they showed on the way out and also the composure in front of goal was enormous. There's Finlayson kicking there and you think, geez, there's enough time here for Port Adelaide to get it going. This free kick is reversed, so holding the ball there for McEntee and then Connor Rosie gets tackled by Rivers. I thought he exaggerated the contact there, Connor Rosie, and that shouldn't have been a reversal. But anyway, he went back and nailed it with a captain's goal and you thought, gee whiz, at home, Port Adelaide are going to storm home. They've done it before, but they look fitter to me. So Melbourne looked the more hardened, fitter group to me. And you can see Petrarca there running away. I thought Radaglia looked out on his feet. You can see Alir trailing there. There's Radaglia just with the easy lead up. But the composure shown by young and old Melbourne players was the difference in the game, albeit I think there's just the final moments there where Dixon takes that mark after the siren. Yeah. The numbers were well and truly in Port Adelaide's favour. So you shouldn't lose that.
You should not lose that game. They dominated in every statistical category and just couldn't get over the line. You mentioned the composure late from Melbourne. That's where it shows.
Yeah, so that's big numbers. Plus 21 entries. And Melbourne's ability to finish. So Ben Brown kicked a couple of big goals on the junction of 50 on the boundary line in the third. Neil Bullen was the same. We saw Fritsch there. And on the flip side, Dixon missed a couple. Yeah. Willie Rioli missed one that he would usually kick. So, yeah, once again, Port Adelaide's issues in front of goal, probably the difference in the game. But Melbourne have started the season really strongly.
They had an issue close to their own goal line as well with the Sava Radaglia. Now, he's got form in this history in terms of keeping a ball in when he should have taken it over. I don't know what he's doing here. This came at a crucial juncture in the game. It's a one-score difference. He goes to take a chest marker, and you can see Ryan Burton at the top of the square here saying, why haven't you put your hands out to stop that from going over the line?
I mean, we can laugh about it, but it's unforgivable, isn't it? Yeah. Like, it's a simple error from a defender who, must be said, was really good, I thought, for three quarters. Before then, he started to cramp up and he had to go off and get a massage, and he looked completely cooked. So I'm not sure about his conditioning, but that one there, that's a bizarre one. They had one in the first quarter where they let it over the back and Fritsch got his first goal. So there was some defensive lapses. There was a 50-metre penalty downfield that led to a Clayton Oliver goal. So there's probably 4 or 5 goals that Port Adelaide cost themselves through undisciplined acts or poor defending.
Proved costly in the end. All right, let's get to our Saturday star now, and it is Alex Neil-Bullen. Now, Alex Neil-Bullen, I reckon he's been an underrated player for quite some time. He plays that high half-forward wing role, which quite often goes unrewarded. He got his rewards tonight, 24 disposals, 2 goals. He had 9 touches in the third term. I thought he really broke this game open.
I spoke to someone from the Hawthorn Football Club who played them last week, and they said, go and watch the behind-the-goals vision of Alex Neil-Bullen and the stuff that he does. There is no way that he gets enough credit. But now, not only is he doing the defensive stuff that the opposition coaches and certainly the Melbourne coaches would see, he's doing this. Yeah. Like, the numbers that he's had are off the charts, and there's not a weakness in his game. So defensively, he's really strong, but now he's getting the ball in really dangerous positions. He's a high-score involvements player. I did the game tonight, and I gave him the 3 votes. I thought he was the best player on the ground, and I think finally we're all starting to talk about him a little bit and recognise what the opposition coaches and what his own coaches have been saying for a long time, and his ability to finish at crucial moments. Look at the score, look at the time of the game there, and to lift the teammates around him, like his leadership has gone to the new level as well.
3 straight wins for Melbourne now. All right, let's get to Marvel Stadium where Essendon just crept over the line against St Kilda. This game had some dramatic moments late. Jake Stringer proved the hero. He kicked 2 goals in the last quarter to bring the Bombers over the line.
He can do it, can't he? I mean, it wasn't a great game of footy. There was a lot of errors. At times it felt like basketball, a high number of disposals. I mean, players getting ridiculous sorts of numbers, but Stringer was a match winner. Not for the first time. This is the frustration in mine with Jake, because he can do this, but I just don't think he's maximised the talent that he's got. Like, not many players with 6 minutes to go on tired legs can go back and ping that from 55, nearly post high, straight through the middle. And the noise at Marvel when he kicked that, was that the first time they hit the front? With 5 minutes, 47 seconds left in the game, the first time they hit the front. So the resilience that Essendon showed, I'll speak to in a minute, because I thought they started the game poorly.
They only led for 9 minutes all night. There was a crucial moment late in this game where Mateus Filippo got the ball on the run. We're about to see it here, Kane. He takes a shot at goal, it goes out in the full. You can see there, just under 90 seconds to go, they're 4 points down. You don't want to slate a young kid, but we'll show some behind the goals vision. He had so many options inside.
Yeah, he does. So we'll highlight this from behind the goals. Young player, and he's going to kick a few of those because he's got a bit of flair about him. He's got some natural confidence. So you don't want that to go out of him. But here, you've got to hit this. So you got to hit Higgins there. That's just an easy little kick over the top. Then he can take the time and have a better shot for goal. Instead, he has a crack. He's probably going to kick 1 out of 20 from that position. So, I mean, that is a learning for them. They're a young group. They're not ready to be a serious finals team yet.
Yeah.
I don't think the Saints. It's going to be in 3-4 years' time when the likes of him and Owens are ready to rip this competition apart.
They burned some opportunities as well, St Kilda. They were so poor with the football throughout. They butchered it on numerous occasions, as we're about to see here. Riley Bonner in particular, 17 turnovers, which was the most of any player since 2012. It was just the theme of their afternoon.
Yeah, it's high risk, high reward, isn't it? So what happens now is, and Ross last week spoke about Collingwood's signatures. Well, all week, what I've been speaking about, St Kilda's ability to transition the ball and move it fast, and Wanganeen Miller and Hill and the speed that they do it with Sinclair, they do it as good as anyone. But if you bring pressure like Essendon did, and I thought their pressure ramped up the longer the game went on, then you're going to give yourself opportunities, and you're going to give yourself opportunities to score and turn the footy over in dangerous positions. So Burton's ball use was poor, as were a number of their players. There's the captain's steal at a crucial moment when you're down by 4 points. So they'd be disappointed with their ball use, and you think it's a big missed opportunity for them?
Well, they've lost 2 games now by single-digit margins, 8 points to Geelong, 4 points today to Essendon. 3 of their next 4 games are on the road. So they're out of Victoria for 3 of the next 4, gather round against Richmond. The Giants is one of the toughest tests in footy, and then Port Adelaide as well, with the Western Bulldogs sandwiched in between. At 1 and 2, you just think if they're 2 and 1, you think you can square the ledger there and still be okay in your season. But if they lose 3 of those next 4 on the road, it makes it really difficult for them.
Personnel's a bit of an issue for them as well. Probably got 5 or 6 out of their best 22 and some key players missing today, as did the Bombers. So I thought it was going to be tough with the Saints, and probably talent for talent. Essendon had a lot of more high draft picks in their side than what the Saints did today. So, look, it was a game that could have gone either way, but the Saints would be disappointed with how long they led the game for and those turnovers that we highlighted.
Let's head to Thursday night footy now at the Gabba, the grand final rematch. And Collingwood finally got their pressure back. We're about to see numerous opportunities here where they just get numerous tacklers to the ball.
They come from everywhere. So this just shows to me it was an attitude problem with them. So you can talk premiership hangover, you can talk whatever you want, you can talk lack of motivation and how long it's taken them to get themselves into the season. But with the stakes so high against a very good opposition on a ground where they rarely lose, Collingwood have gone, okay, well, we've got to be desperate here, and desperate they were. We haven't seen them defend like this year. They come from everywhere. Darcy Moore playing with urgency. I mean, we've highlighted him for sitting off his opponents, the skill level, brain fades that he has had. Look at that. That's noble, hungry player, and then they just come in from everywhere. So Craig McRae, late in the game, I reckon Jamie Elliott nailed a tackle, and Craig McRae was celebrating on the interchange bench, and you could lip read it, and it was something to do with pressure. Like they would have been thrilled with their pressure because that's what they built their premiership success off last year. It's a big win, and they don't feel like they're right into the season.
It would have been almost curtains if they had started 0-4. Brisbane are now 0-3 on the season. 2 straight losses at the Gabba as well, and it was their talls that just couldn't get into the game. So we're about to see a few clips here, and just Joe Danaher, Eric Hipwood, so many opportunities in the air they couldn't capitalise on. Billy Frampton back into Collingwood side. I thought he was really good as well.
I thought he was solid playing back this time. Where's the grippo for Eric Hipwood? He needed the grippo, that sticky stuff you put on your hands. It's awful to kick the ball with, but it helps you mark. And he couldn't grasp them. So if you look at the numbers that they had, the entries, 22 scoring shots from 56 inside 50s with a forward line as potent as this. Regularly, I've said they got the best group of small and medium forwards in the league, but their talls, I've also said they can't win a premiership with Danaher and Hipwood, and that has proven to be the case. I can't remember the last time Eric Hipwood played a good game. It must be 8-9 games ago, and at some point, regardless of the ridiculous 7-year contract he has signed, he's got to pay the price at selection. So whether you go a little bit smaller with Danaher and you get Link McCarthy to play taller or Rayner to play taller, I think something needs to change with the makeup of this forward line.
Yeah, Darcy Fort into the side alongside Oscar McInerney as well. So that'll be interesting to see what they do there. Chris Fagan spoke after the game about being 0-3.
You know, make it sound like we're 0-13. We're 0-3, and there's 20 games to go. So let's not. It's not a great start, but let's not catastrophise either. It would be the way I would look at it. And
he's not catastrophising it, but 0-3. 2 straight losses at the Gabba, a ground where they just never lose. It's worrying.
Yeah, it's definitely worrying.
Yeah.
I was about a 5 out of 10 on the worry scale last week. I'm probably about a 7 now. But, I mean, they're in the same position as what Collingwood were a week ago. So you've got to come with that desperation that we haven't seen. There is enough talent in that lineup. They aren't gelling, they aren't sinking, and they aren't as desperate as what they need to be. They're not clean at ground level, and they have no forward and midfield connection. That can be fixed. It's a stretch, but starting to get desperate now.
Certainly is. Let's head to Good Friday footy now at Marvel Stadium, where Carlton defeated North Melbourne by 56 points, and it was their twin towers in attack, Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay. 9 goals between them. When these two are in the mood, they're going to be a team that's hard to stop.
It'll be a long season for North back 6. I mean, when you put any best 22 up in the pre-season, there's a number of media outlets did, and you go, gee, this back 6 is the worst in the comp. And that's with all due respect, it's just the absolute facts. Aiden Core, out of his depth, he's a big money player for them on a huge contract, can't compete. Look at him just off Harry Mackay. Yeah, he's outsized, but they weren't physical enough. And players like Toby Peake, well, this is what you expect. This is what you're going to get against the Coleman medalists. So if you're going to give them that supply on a ground with a roof, good luck. And it's surprising they didn't do more damage. But that kick there is beautiful, isn't it? Like, he's really got his kick working. He's playing with confidence. The crowd are all over him again after hating him last year. So the Carlton fans are back in love with him. He feels loved. And when you feel loved, you play good footy.
You mentioned North Melbourne's problems. They don't get any easier when you're in discipline. And I thought throughout the game, there was so many opportunities. They gave away 6 50-metre penalties. They gave away 34 free kicks. Carlton kicked 7 goals from frees and 2 from 50-metre penalties. Couple it with a stand mark. We're about to see George Wardlaw run over the mark, though.
Yeah. So Simpkins, the captain here, does he know what the stand rule is? It might have been She's like, yes, you know what the stand rule is. We've been doing it for long enough. I know it's instinctive and you move. And when you say discipline, it's not necessarily ill discipline. It's just a brain fade there, like Wardlaw. I mean, he just runs straight through the mark. We've known that one for a while, and this is from a senior player. This is 100% a 50-metre penalty, and probably lucky not to get suspended for this. Larky, although I think McGovern contributed to the contact. So I had a bit of sympathy earlier. I thought some of the free kicks to Carlton forwards were 50-50 and could have gone either way, but they've got enough going against them, North Melbourne, to be giving away easy free kick goals.
Tell me if I'm making too much of this one, Kane, because Callum Coleman-Jones goes down with a ruptured Achilles. It's an awful injury, and we saw Josh Goder a couple of weeks ago do something similar at North Melbourne. It's really bad. But I was surprised. I was at the game, and I could see from 15 rows back on level 3 that he was in pain. Nick Larkey goes up to him here as soon as he does it and makes sure he's okay. But from this moment, there's 3 minutes between Callum Coleman-Jones going down and then getting carted off the field. A number of Carlton players go to check on him. None of his North Melbourne teammates do. I found this fascinating. They're all just standing around there. Maybe I'm making too much of it, but I think you have to be making a show to go over to him.
No, I think every North Melbourne player should have gone over. Now we're going to see Fisher is the only one that actually checks on him. So I wouldn't have been made aware of this footage. You're at the ground and you saw it, but I think that is a small sign that you are worrying about yourself and not your teammate. Like, I mean, we've seen players go off on stretches before, and every single one of them have come over and rubbed him on the head. Now, does it mean anything to the player? It's a small thing, great for the family at home to show that his teammates care, but for 3 minutes for not one player, not one of the captains go, hey, let's go check on him and see how he's going. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think you have made too much of it.
Yeah, there was the Jeremy Howe one, round 1 last year, where every single Collingwood player went up to him afterwards. And I just thought when you contrast them, maybe it's a cultural thing, still a young side, still growing, but I did find it interesting at the ground. All right, let's get to our moment of the weekend now, and it could only be one. The game for the kids at Marvel Stadium, raising money for the Royal Children's Hospital's Good Friday appeal. Over $23 million raised. We're seeing Imogen, who's been one of the mascots throughout the week, toss the coin as well, and Ollie, who spent a bit of time with Carlton, both spent time at the Royal Children's Hospital across the early parts of their life. There's been a lot made around whether or not North Melbourne deserve Good Friday footy. I think this is one of the rare occasions where the footy's actually secondary to what goes on around it, and I think North and Carlton over the last week couldn't have done much more.
No, I'm with you. I'm really happy for them. The fans turned out. It was such a special day for the kids, so much money raised. So if these two want to play Good Friday forever, they can. And I do like the double header as well.
Yeah.
I thought the Fremantle fans, we'll get to that shortly, but massive crowd there. I think the biggest crowd for a non-derby game for Freo ever, 51,000 is huge. So they can also have the Friday night, and I did like the double up on Friday.
It was good. Let's stay at Optus Stadium now, where Fremantle kicked away late. Geez, it wasn't a great contest, but they showed a bit of composure in the fourth quarter. 4 unanswered goals to run away with the points.
Early days, but you won't see a worse game of football. I don't think. Well, unless West Coast play, but take West Coast out of it. This was an ordinary game until, and they won't care, Fremantle put the foot down. So we spoke about Melbourne's fitness and hardness. Well, this is exactly what Fremantle showed, the resilience, helped by some horrible turnovers. I can't remember an Adelaide side using the football as badly as this, well, for a long time anyway, since probably the first or second year of their rebuild. So they're really struggling with numbers down back, and they're struggling with any damage from the midfield and that midfield forward connection. And once again, we are standing up here talking about their away record.
Well, they're 9-31 away from the Adelaide Oval under Matthew Nicks. We've put this on the record a couple of times, but we wanted to go through their 9 wins because I reckon this is more stark. So this is the 9 victories that they've recorded on the road. That game in 2022 against the Western Bulldogs, who were 10th at the time, is the best side they've beaten on the road.
So they only beat poor teams on the road, if they do win.
If at all. So 9 wins in just over 3 years, and they've never beaten a top 8 side. It's becoming more and more of an issue, and I wonder if it becomes more and more of a psychological thing now under Matthew Nicks, that when they go and face Fremantle in what should have been a winnable game, it was a 10-point difference at three-quarter time. I wonder if that plays into their thinking in the last quarter.
And then when you start to drop some games at home against teams that didn't play finals last year, like Geelong. So they've been the most disappointing team for me to start the season, Adelaide, because I had high expectations on them. Should have played finals last year. You think the natural improvement and growth of some of their high draft picks, and you have to question, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to do it, their recruiting. You have to go back and look through their first-round draft picks since 2016, from Galucci to Mackesy to Chase Jones to Thilthorpe, who we're not sure about, to Fogarty, who we're not sure about. Go through them. And then Pedler, we're not sure about Pedler. And some of their second-rounders are very similar as well. Schoenberg, Berry, they're all similar types through that midfield. So I don't think they've had enough point of difference through their recruiting, and they've burnt some of their first-round draft picks. And you play against Fremantle, who nailed their picks with Sarong and Young in that draft, and Adelaide took, I think it was Mackesy, then that may have been the difference.
Yeah, they burnt the footy throughout the night as well. So many turnovers from the Crows. This was just sort of emblematic of the game. It was a really scrappy game. But
unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, they're missing some key personnel back, but even like having Mark Keane on kick-out duties. It's just strange having Keane on kick-out duties. They're inexperienced ball aces down there, Worrell's down there. So, they'd love a key defender or two. That's why they went so hard for Harrison Petty, you would think. And Curtin they've picked, and they wouldn't wait to be able to get him into the side, the West Australian. So, looking forward to that. But season quickly slipping away for Adelaide, whose draw in the next month or so doesn't get much easier.
No, it certainly doesn't. They've got Melbourne at home in Gather Round next Thursday night, and then Carlton away from home. So that's another really difficult contest for them. The worry as well, as we're seeing here, entries inside 50. They can't score. This is the one thing they could do last year. So they didn't make the 8 last year, but they were ranked number 1 in the league for scoring. This year, 54 against Gold Coast, 77 against Geelong, 4 goals against Fremantle.
4 goals, like 34 points. Are you kidding me? With a team with Rochelle and Rankin and Walker and Fogarty and Pedler, and these players who were ripping games apart last year, they couldn't trouble the scorers. Now, Thilthorpe is a big out. I get that, and Burgess isn't to the same standard, but that's what they did. 95 points a game to 55. The drop-off all over the park. It's alarming. They've re-signed the coach. I think it was way too premature to do that, and they needed more information, but they've done it, and the pressure is building quickly.
All right, let's have a look ahead to the rest of the round now. We start tomorrow at Marvel Stadium when the Western Bulldogs take on the Eagles. The Dogs lost that game at Marvel Stadium last year. Richmond and Sydney as well at the MCG. And then Easter Monday footy with Hawthorn taking on Geelong. All right, let's get to our Canes questions as well. We put the call out on AFL's Twitter account.
How
We've got
were
some
they?
good ones
the
in.
people on Twitter very nice?
They were
today?
always very nice.
Yeah.
You Kane on
Complimentary.
Twitter. Prez Darty wants to know, does Jack Darling need to go back to the waffle for a couple of weeks?
Well, I don't know who else they play. We saw Andrew Gaff do it. Does he need to play a different position or go back? I think he probably needed to go back 2 years ago, but unfortunately they don't have many other options.
Platinum Pete, how long does Noah Bolter spend forward for the Tigers, do you reckon?
If it was up to me, that's it. I would have had him back from the start. was strange. He doesn't look like a forward to me, far more damaging as a key defender. So hopefully, to answer your question, not long.
And Lockie Steele, who is your early Brownlow medal favourite? I know you love an early tip.
Yeah, well, I've loved what Sydney's midfielders have done. So give me Goulden, give me Heaney, give me Warner, like 3 of those, but they've probably taken the votes off each other.
Yeah.
Isn't it time Marcus Bontempelli won a Brownlow?
Yeah, I reckon.
Would he be the most deserving player who hasn't won a Brownlow to win it? He got the 10 coaches' votes against Gold Coast. He's in good form. So I'd love to see the Bont win it.
Would be fantastic. Thanks for your time tonight, Kane. Hope you
Mate.
enjoyed it at home. We'll see you next week.